Hello, welcome to another live stream with me, Rauchenwald, and with that to another episode of Daily Market Mastery. As always, we are going to use this episode to take a look at my portfolio, certain stocks, indices, and try to predict where they're going to move next. I'm sorry for being late, but last but not least, as always, before we jump into it, I still have to get the disclaimer out of the way. Everything that I share in this live stream / video is my personal opinion and no way financial or professional advice of any kind. You should always do your own research, consult certified professionals, draw your own conclusions, and make your own decisions. And with that, the final usual reminder for everyone that's tuning in for the first time, you can find all the tools that I'm using, so the charting software, the broker, the strategy that I'm following down in the description below. If you follow the links there, and the one thing I recommend to everyone is to actually read the Elliott Wave principle. You can read it online for free if you use the link down below. Other than that, you can also use that link to order a physical copy if you want to do so. And with that, I think we can jump right into it. Hide this. And yeah, I think today will be a short episode. I have a incredibly annoyingly long to-do list today. There have been a few developments that I did not expect, or just things that come up like it always is in life. What is there? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So market's already open. Yeah, 30 seconds. So today I said we're a few minutes late. Again, I'm sorry for that. And yeah, let's take a look. So GameStop seems to have potentially bottomed. I think we'll have to wait for something like, we already have the breakout from here, okay, and if we take that one, okay, yeah, so I think we'll have to wait for a breakout from roughly this to be a little bit more certain that the downwards movement here is completed, which would turn that potentially as that into either wave 1, 2, or it's still wave 1, 2 somewhere here, and 3, 4, and then wave 5. Either way, I think we still, or that things from here should improve. Yeah, the usual thing, we're gonna check real quick how did the short interest develop in terms of, at least in our account, or in my account here. So just a second, I'm firing up the statement one for the 22nd, so for yesterday, and the other one for then the 21st, so for Monday. So here we have the, oops, there's no statement available. What? 21st view? No, huh? Shouldn't there be? Did I miss something? Oh, that's Sunday, sorry, for the 19th Friday, yeah. Obviously, we only have, what do we have? Tuesday? No, 7 days are too much for me to keep track, yeah. So if we look down to the stock yield enhancement program, so the thing about lending out shares, we can see that out of the 501 GameStop shares that I hold in this portfolio on Friday, 133 have been lent out with a net fee of 0.12%. That means people that actually borrowed them had to pay an interest rate of 0.24%, so not that much. And if we look on yesterday's chart, so again, stock yield enhancement, or not chart, but file, we see that yesterday actually none of the shares were lent out. We see that only the 200, wait, how many were it? The 133 shares that were lent out were returned, but no new shares were lent out, which points towards there not being too much demand for shares to short GameStop, or too much of a supply. Yeah, now if we, yeah, which also means there are a lot of shares cheaply available to short right now in GameStop. So if somebody would want to short it now, it would be probably relatively cheap to do so. Should keep that in mind. But again, as far as the pattern goes, I think, yeah, we're not completely out of the woods yet, but from the looks of it, we might have finished the corrective wave here and should slowly develop the movement up. If you're wondering my position in GameStop right now, so outside of the 501 shares that I got assigned through cash secured puts at $30, I'm currently having 5 covered calls at 35 strike price that expire on the 2nd of August, so in 10 days from now, if I'm not mistaken, to pocket a measly, what was it, a measly 200 something dollars in premium for those 11 days since we sold them yesterday. And yeah, so if we stay above $30 by August, if we stay below $35 by August 2nd, I still have the 500 shares here and pocket the premium. If we go above 35, my shares get called away. I make a $2,500 profit on those shares, and I still get to keep the premium. So either way, I'm fine with that. And with that, we can, I think, move on. Now let's check real quick what was the next one that we have. Right now, Green Wave and COS are still lent out, and we see the interest rate is increasing. So we see for Green Wave, it was 60.48%, and now, oh no, it dropped slightly, so it's 59.82, so or stagnated. So still the net fee rate. Sorry. So overall, people that lend or people that borrowed shares for or to short Green Wave paid 120% in yearly or in analyzed interest. Yeah. And for COS, we can see that the interest rate again almost doubled. So from 43% that we get as net fees, so 86.6% that people paid in interest, to 71, which is now to basically 142% and 24 that people have to pay to borrow the shares. So let's look at those two things first. So GREF and COS, let's start here. Here we have the same thing. Like I mentioned in the previous streams, again, I don't have any pattern that would suggest that will go up from here and the stock will explode or whatever. I just like that it's like apparently heavily shorted because people have to pay an insane amount in interest to borrow shares to short it. And despite being heavily shorted, it seems to be relatively stable in this price area, which brings me to assume that if or when those shorts have to close or when they close their shares, which means they have to buy them back on the market and then return the lent shares, that the price could go up substantially. So that's here. Now in COS, we have the interest rate increasing and the stock still moving up. That's surprising. Yeah. So, I mean, we see that we have a little bit of dip here. We are on an hourly chart. So here we still have yesterday and here we go into today. So, but we see despite a doubling in the interest rate, so people have to pay twice as much as they did before, almost twice as much to borrow the shares, the price is going up. Yeah, which makes it also, yeah, like an assumption on my side that it's possible that outside of a potential 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern that might be developing here, we might also see a stronger upwards movement simply based on shorts that have to close, because with that high of an interest rate, it's only a matter of time until they have to close. Unless, of course, as the stock keeps dropping, they can return the shares every day and then borrow the next day again, where they then borrow cheaper, because obviously the value of what they borrow is then less. And that might compensate for the higher interest rate. However, if they're borrowing while the price keeps going up, it just means it's going to be more and more expensive to pay the interest on the shares. And the moment they close, as said, they have to buy them back in theory. So yeah, COS, I think, and GWEF both, in my opinion, potential for stronger movements, simply based on the relatively high short interest. Just a second. Checking something. Nice. Okay. And with that, we have those two covered. Now, yeah, Faraday Future, we still have to see if that actually will turn into some kind of ABC pattern, or if that actually is some kind of 1, 2, and now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern. I only hold 200 shares there with a 40-cent average, so break even. And I would sell a covered call for both of those shares. Actually a leaps, so like a long expiration thing where that expires in January if I get enough premium for it. We'll see if that ever happens. For that, the stock price would have to go up a little bit further. CrowdStrike, how are they moving? So keeping an eye on it. So yeah, looks like it played out similar to, we're not where we want to be yet, but it looks like it is playing out the way we assumed it yesterday, so that this might actually be 1, 2, 3, 4, and wave 5. Surprisingly, we don't get to see, we'll have to zoom in a little bit, maybe try 4-hour. Yeah, even on a 4-hour chart, it's hard to label this as ABC, so 1-hour chart. Yeah, even there, so we have that huge spike up, down. 30 minutes. Yeah, still problem, or still challenging. 1-minute chart. there will hardly, okay, there was the huge spike. Okay, that's, yeah. So it's hard to be 100% sure if that is indeed, let's go to the daily chart. Yeah. So if that is indeed here, our wave 4 in that candle, or if we're still in wave 3, either way, I think we'll go further down. So, I mean, we're not invested, don't have a horse in that race. So yeah, just sharing my opinion, and we'll see how it goes and where it moves from there. Grab, actually, we can look at it again. Haven't looked at it for some time. I think we might have bottomed here, and I think we might get to see auto labeling disagrees with me here. Yeah, no, auto labeling doesn't fully disagree, just thinks wave 1 is here. I think wave 1 is here, and this might be the start of an upwards movement. Yeah, we'll see if that happens. Here we also hold a leap. I mean, it's like a cheap $50 trade, so that expires in January 26. So yeah, not that it really has any urgency to it, but I think we might see an upwards movement from here. Well, yeah, the next months will prove me right or wrong here. G-Wave recovered. Immersion is going up further. So question is, I think I mentioned it yesterday, that on one hand, it's possible that this turns into ABC and we would expect a retracement here. On the other hand, it's also possible that we're still in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern here and get another push up first. Either way, I think it's a hold. Yeah, there might be better entries out there, so it might be possible to. So again, it might be possible that we correct down here and then could re-enter better and whatnot, and then take the push up. But I think right now it's not a bad entry, and it's also yeah, still has upside potential, even if temporarily it might first correct down in a corrective wave pattern before it continues the impulsive wave pattern. Cost we already covered. Neo, we just hold a handful of shares, and I think, like, yeah, I mean, that might be really it. So 1, 2, and potentially we have the next 1, 2 and movement up. We'll see. Right now, I think one of the critical things is to make it out of that trend line here, or trend channel, if we were to draw the parallel here. So like to break through here. So the next couple of weeks should show us if we are right here, or if we bounce from this level here and basically go under this point at 414. So we have like 10% risk here, but a lot of upside. Because if this turns out as 1, 2, 3, then we would have more than 50%, or at least 50% upside. No, more than 50%. And if it turns out as A, B, C, before we continue the journey down, we would still have 50% upside. So definitely not a bad trade. NVIDIA, how are they doing? So 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. So yeah, like gonna be. As I mentioned, I think we covered it yesterday as well. I think we haven't finished that corrective pattern here. So A, B, and should still get wave C down. And here in that wave C, 1, 2, 3, 4. The tricky part is, as I mentioned yesterday, so 125.02 would be kind of like the maximum. Ideally, that would be the end of this wave C. So that would be something like A, B, C. And here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to finish that. So I'd expect it, I mean, I might be proven wrong today already, but I'd expect it today already to start the downwards journey to finish wave 5 and go at least to, based on my other estimation, down to 110. And SunPower recovering a little bit. Yeah, I mean, obviously they took a huge hit. We'll see if they turn around. I'm okay either way. Like, we covered it yesterday, so that basically on the news that they will do no new leases for now and shipments and whatnot. Definitely not very, very positive. And yeah, so either they go bust, and in this case, bad deal, or they recover from here. I like in general solar. So that's a small, what was it, $400 bet. That currently is hugely in the red. So like 75% at a loss here. Because mostly of that recent announcement, and every pattern became invalid the moment we broke through here. So but yeah, so no point selling at that loss in my opinion, because the amount is also so small that like either they turn the ship around, and then I think it should be not much of a challenge to recover at least to the above the $1, $1.50 area, or they don't turn it around, and then anyway, like, yeah, it doesn't really matter if the loss is a few dollars more than what I currently lost in that position. SPY. Still in the upwards movement. So from the looks of it, I would suggest that this is some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern, which means we would expect A, B, C as well. And for the A, B, C, I would expect right now on first glance A, B, and C, so that we go to 556 and maybe turn around from there, which would also check with NVIDIA a little bit. So kind of like have a little bit movement up and then continue the downwards journey. And with that, surprisingly, we covered all the positions already. Yeah, so that went really, really quick. Now, if there are no questions in the chat, in terms of if you want to look me, if you want me to look at some other things, stocks, indices, or so on, or if you have a different opinion with some of my forecasting quotes, then yeah, we're probably gonna call it quits. Now, last but not least, actually, we can look at the gold futures. We labeled them a while back. I think Friday, 2 weeks ago. And the overall outlook, in my opinion, is still bullish. So that from here, we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, and 9 wave 5 right now. And we are not yet in the wave 5 target area. That would be at least the 2,584 to 2,757. And if we look on the smaller scale, we might just have a correction of this 5 wave pattern here right now. And there, if I move this, we are right now at the 50% retracement, which would serve as a potential turnaround point. So definitely not the worst entry in my opinion. Again, I might be wrong. If one were to enter here, stop loss would need to be at 2,304.70, and a set take profit could then be further up. It's also possible still that the corrective pattern has not finished, then a second entry would be at 2,374.90. But personally, I would be already okay with entering here. However, I have to say I was slightly wrong here with the labeling, because obviously the correction that we had here, I thought we had the ABC finished here and might see the push up here, but it looks, so I actually thought we are just correcting this pattern, when it turns out that we are apparently correcting this entire pattern, or actually this entire pattern. Yeah, so yeah. And other than that, if there's nothing in the chat, I think we are going to call it a day. As I said, I have a lot of things to do on my to-do list today. We're going to see each other tomorrow with another episode, again, roughly 5 minutes before the market opens. And yeah, don't forget, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, you can find all the resources that I'm using in the links in the description down below. And don't forget as well to, like, subscribe, enable notifications so you don't miss out on future streams. And with that, I'm going to say thanks for stopping by again. Wish you all a great day, much success, or a lot of success during your trading week. And till next time, bye-bye.